Feliz, imagina, feliz.
C'est un bon.
Metti quelque part, non? Ok.
Is it going to be channel 5?
And what?
Which channel is it?
Can you hear me now? I can hear
Which
myself.
channel?
Okay, good. That means you can hear me. Well, good afternoon here from beautiful Lillestrøm. This is the traditional annual coordination session organized by now 177 national, sub-regional, and regional and youth IGFs. For the record, my name is Anja Gengo. I work at the IGF Secretariat, and I believe the majority here is aware that the Secretariat has been entrusted by now this very large, robust network of NRIs to facilitate the coordination and to take care of the sustainability of the NRIs collectively as a network, but of course to also recognize the NRIs at an individual level, work with colleagues who of course have their autonomy to ensure that their processes long-term are successful and as such sustainable. Every year, annually, we take stock of what we have been doing the past couple of months, and particularly we focus collectively what we want to do in the months to come and in the years to come. Of course, the last time we met in person and online on this occasion was just a few months ago, around 6 months ago, at the IGF in Riyadh. But I think in the 6 months period we managed to, as a network, produce a lot, and as a result the NRIs as a network will have a very nice representation here at the 20th annual IGF meeting. And in addition to that, given the very important year for internet governance or digital governance, I of course refer to the 20th review of the World Summit on the Information Society, with that the review of the IGF mandate by the General Assembly in December this year. The work of the NRIs has never been more important, and the NRIs are aware of that. So there is, as a network, there is also a collective position that is now captured in a document on the NRIs in relation to Business Plus 20, and how the network sees the processes of the World Summit on the Information Society evolving over the past 2 decades, and especially what could be the objective for the years to come for digital governance beyond 2025. We will be speaking about this quite a lot. Of course, this topic will be cross-cutting the 3 NRI collaborative sessions that are hosted throughout this week, and the NRI's main session, which will specifically look at multi-stakeholder approach to digital governance going beyond 2025. So that will be a very interesting opportunity to hear how the world thinks about where we are now with these processes, and especially the way forward. This is an open dialogue. That is the format. We would like to understand what in the past couple of months the NRIs have seen as the most important in terms of their work. What were the challenges? The point is always to exchange practices and to learn from each other to become better. So I can certainly start from the Secretariat, and I already said quite a lot, but my question to you would be, in the thinking since Riyadh IGF, when we last time met, and this is of course a question to not just you in the room here in Lillestrøm, but also a number of NRI colleagues that are with us online through Zoom. What did you see as the biggest challenge with respect to your processes? Were there changes, especially from the global level, that impacted you at the local level and your multi-stakeholder processes with the national or regional or youth IGFs? This is something that the Secretariat would like to learn more about, just to understand whether that can inform the course of our action, especially as we are moving toward the Business Plus 20. So that is the question. For the Secretariat, where is the change? The change certainly is this framework of Business Plus 20. Very much we're focused on our future and what we need to do here and now for that future to be informed and to be directed in the direction we want which is toward the internet that is unique as one, robust, sustainable, accessible, affordable, safe, secure, resilient as such. And last year we spent quite a lot of time, of course, focusing on the fact and the realization that the UN informed officially that, for example, as a system, the world is behind on the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, in addition to being very much focused, attentive, and contributing to the adoption and then implementation of the Global Digital Compact. But I think this year we have even bigger agenda with the WSIS Plus 20. And so I put the question then for all NRI colleagues, from your experiences so far, what do you see as the biggest change and as the biggest challenge so far? I know that many of you have hosted your meetings already, some for the very first time. And it would be really wonderful to hear what are the lessons learned. Is there something that where we can help each other? And precisely if you have suggestion what the Secretariat could do, or the IGF as a structure, together with the MAG, together with the leadership panel, I think it would be a good opportunity to hear that, and then we will convey to the relevant authorities to see if it's possible to go into the implementation of that possible objective. So that's the question. Happy to repeat it if possible, but it's a warm exchange of the experiences so far. And whoever wishes to start first, I'm going to ask you maybe to raise your hand here in the room or in Zoom. I am following if we have any hands raised. And then you will be given the floor to speak. Jennifer, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Anya. My name is Jennifer Chung. I'm now speaking on behalf of the Secretariat of the Asia Pacific Regional IGF. Always happy to start us off. Our colleagues, gather thoughts as well. I think there are three main things, especially when you're thinking about it from a regional IGF point of view. So the first thing is, I remember at the end of last year in Riyadh, all the NRIs came together in a main session looking at the evolving role that we all play in the multi-stakeholder process and models and the dialogue as well. And since then, the 6 months, there's a lot more clarity about what we're going to do. Because back then it's a little bit of an existential question that we were asking, hey, the IGF mandate, the global IGF mandate, it will be renewed. Will it be renewed? Perhaps that is it. But then for the NRIs, all the 170 plus NRIs that we are very organically arranged, organically created. And it really speaks a lot to the work that we do at local levels, national levels, sub-regional levels, all of that. And the youth initiatives too. So that's the first thing, the existential question. The second point that was a very big impact was a lot of NRIs, of course, don't have their meetings so early on in the year. Actually, throughout the entire year, there's a huge calendar of different NRIs, and usually it informs as well, both ways, both the NRI agenda and also the global IGF agenda. This year, because we're here in Norway in June, a lot of NRIs really try to shorten their preparation time, which actually is quite a heavy lift, a heavy ask from a lot of NRIs who mainly we're volunteers. We're not paid people to be able to put on something that's actually quite resource consuming. So that's one thing as well. And the second thing is the topics that we pick as well, right? We are very much influenced now because we are in the WSIS Plus 20 review year. So many NRIs who've already had their meetings, including I think Eurodig had a very good consultation on that too, as well as others in other regions, really tries to get input from the NRI communities around the world to actually opine on what they want to see as WSIS Plus 20. Now we have a lot of clarity because the Elements paper came out just on Friday. So I think going forward for NRIs who will have their meetings after the global IGF, that also will inform us, we have some clarity on the consultation dates, for example. I think this gives us a really good opportunity to be able to galvanize our NRI communities to be able to input further into the WSIS Plus 20 review, which is extremely central to a lot of our meetings. And the last thing I want to touch on a little bit more is, again, it's a sustainable funding issue for all of us. I think when we look, and we talked a little bit about it this morning during the IGF Support Association session, how can we look at sustainable funding, not just of obviously, very obviously for the global IGF, but how do we look for sustainable funding and the sustainability, longevity of our own NRIs? And I think it puts a very big question mark over our head, because not only, a lot of CCTLDs, so the country code top level domains, they support very much the local and the national meetings, but that is not enough sometimes. We need to look into other donors, for example, maybe private sector, maybe big tech, other things, local donors. And if they have a question mark over the head regarding, if they don't understand, if the global mandate doesn't renew, for example, if they don't quite understand, then they would ask the question, what is the value for us to keep on giving you this, money to continue your meetings? So just three things I wanted to stop here to see how other colleagues also react to this. But I guess from the Asia Pacific point of view. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jennifer, and to the APR IGF. Any other interventions anyone would like to come in? I am also inviting our Zoom colleagues. So one of the challenges, yes, wonderful. Yes, let's go to Nazar, please, and then Carlos.
Thank you so much, Anya, and thank you so much for everybody who is attending this session. And my name is Dr. Nazar Nicholas Kirama from Tanzania IGF, and I also sit in the East Africa IGF. And this year I was also appointed or selected as a member of the Africa Internet Governance Forum, and we happened to host the Africa IGF this year in Tanzania. And on the side of the challenge that we have had as national IGF and East Africa IGF, for example, this year the calendar was too short in terms of preparations. We were squeezed between the national IGF, the regional IGF, which is East Africa IGF, and Africa IGF. So the time limitation was so much, because in the previous years we used to have a very good framework in terms of organizing national, regional, and other sub-regional IGF. So the challenge this year was really time, and we are very glad to be able to pull off these things, because the time was so tight in terms of making sure we meet the deadlines for the global IGF. That is number one. Number two, this year, as you may well recall, we have had 3 points that we need to connect: the IGF plus 20, the WSIS plus 20, and the Global Digital Compact. So the Digital Global Compact and WSIS processes, all these, most people were not very aware in terms of how they bring this together, because the challenge is how do we proceed going forward? Do we merge it and make it a one single United Nations agency for all these three, or how do we proceed with that? So that has been a challenge, but just like my colleague Jennifer said about the WSIS elements, that has been very helpful for our colleagues back home and in the region, where we can see now the pathway for how we can make our contribution until the meeting for the to approve for it to become permanent, or to continue the mandate of the IGF and the WSIS plus 20. And the WSIS. So that is one of the challenges we have had, but I think human beings are very elastic in terms of thinking, but we wanted to make sure that no stakeholder, either at the national level or at the regional level, is left behind. For example, in Tanzania, we're going to have the national review for the WSIS plus 20. on the 3rd and 4th to discuss how, as a nation and stakeholders from Tanzania, what is their position in terms of renewing the. We know we are supporting the renewal of the mandate of the IGF, but the WISIS Plus 20 and the Global Digital Compact. How do we establish a common position as a nation going forward? That will be my 50 cents, contribution for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nazar, and congratulations on all the activities you indeed managed to put within a very compressed timeline. Let's go to Carlos from the Ecuador IGF, and then we're gonna take other interventions.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Carlos Vera from IGF Ecuador. I think one of the best example of good practice we can share is the NRI model itself. We work globally, we work regionally, we work locally. And we have this kind of meeting. I'm very happy that I heard from several ministers today saying that they are going to reinforce the multi-stakeholder model. And that's what we need now. And we need also to have working the financial model. Funding from, for example, the Internet Society Foundation is essential for us to be here. More of us are volunteers. So we need the support to maintain our local IGF, our regional IGF, our presence here. So in the multi-stakeholder model, maybe in the IGF, maybe in the Digital Compact, I don't know, the next model, we strongly support the multi-stakeholder model for work in the way we are doing. Thank you very much, Anja, also for your great job. You need more help now.
As the numbers are growing, I do feel it, yes. But thank you very much for really excellent work. I think the NRIs have proven their values, and it's been like that for years now. But I like, Carlos, what you mentioned before we go to Agustina about funding, building on what Jennifer also said. From the perspective of the Secretariat, as you know, we have cooperation with different stakeholders who are interested and see it as necessary, really, to support the NRIs in kind or financially as well. And the past couple of years, there are very few, unfortunately, still, but extremely valuable stakeholders who have established the processes of grants so that the NRIs can apply, actually, through a formal process for a financial grant. One of them is, as you mentioned, Carlos, is the Internet Society Foundation. Of course, the IGF Support Association, and Jennifer is with us from the Secretariat there. But I have to say, what I've noticed, especially last year, is the increased effort from the German Development Fund, the GIZ, in supporting the NRIs. We've seen that for the past couple of years, and we had wonderful collaboration with colleagues supporting the NRIs in the African region. And now that is expanding, so that's an update from this year. We're now working with colleagues who are interested into cooperating more, including supporting the NRIs in specific regions. So for this year, the focus is the Southeastern Europe as well as the Central Asia. And for us, that's a very important step. And I just wanted to put this on the record in case there will be also other stakeholders with means to maybe follow these really good practices. Because investing in the NRIs really means investing in people, bringing back to people, as these are people-centered and people-led processes first and foremost. So with that, I want to give floor to Agustina from the Argentina IGF.
Hi, thank you, Anya. Well, first thing is the news. We relaunched the IGF Argentina this year. I'm the coordinator of the IGF Argentina. And one of the challenges that we faced was first getting the government involved. It was a little bit hard for us to get people from the national government involved. We have 2 members of parliament who are part of the IGF. Like 1 month ago, we got the executive branch involved, but it was quite challenging for us. And the other thing that I want to share with you, we also had some challenges, facing some challenges on having the private sector involved, especially with funding or, I don't know, sharing their experience and be part of the IGF. Like civil society and academia, we were all in, but it was really hard. And one thing that I'm seeing is that, so for you to know, we are 20 members, half, so 10 members, half of the IGF committee, I call them like the old ones because are the ones that have been in the IGF like for several years. But then we brought new people with new discussions like Bitcoin. We have a person who's leading an initiative on Bitcoin for women. We also wanted to, because people usually in these fields, at least in Argentina, the ones that were leading the conversation were not that young. So we have 30% of the committee member is youth. And one thing that I want to address, and I want to ask you maybe for some, I don't know, advice, is I saw at the beginning everyone was like, yeah, we should do it, we relaunch it, we are all in power, we are like, yeah. And now, you know, it's decreasing. So how do you keep people involved and working, knowing that it's not their primary work and they do not get paid, so everything is volunteer? How do you do that? Like I see several initiatives here that have been for several years now. And in Argentina, they had one 4 years before the pandemic, before COVID. But then it kept on breaking, kept like not going. So how do you do that? Like get people involved working without being paid? And how do you get funds? I know Anya just mentioned, but also we cannot depend always on donors. So how do you manage that? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Agustina. I think we have here Nigel from the Caribbean IGF, and then we're going to go to Mahendranath, and then to Kato-san. Nigel, please. And then to Mary, yes. I think the microphone doesn't work. Can you hear, Nigel?
Not hearing me? It's on?
Julian, yes.
Are you hearing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yes, I was saying thank you, Anya, for calling on me because I will try to answer Agustina's question in terms of what I am going to say because we are trying to exchange good practices here. And one of the things that we at the Caribbean IGF always sought to do is to have some impact, some positive impact. And I would say, the very short answer, Agustina, is if people can see that they're having impact, they would continue, and that would draw others in as well. In our case in the Caribbean, from the outset, we decided that, you know, we rather than just say talk about the issues and so on, we would try to record what were some of the agreements that came out of our meetings in terms of ways forward. So we created this document we call a Caribbean Internet Governance Policy Framework, which we've updated as time has gone on. We've had like 4 editions now, the last in 2024. And what we found is that as people realize that maybe there's something going on here or something growing here, we've been able to get some sponsorship from the technical community, from the IGF, from ISOC and so on, to continue what we're doing. So the impact we want to have is on ICT policies in the Caribbean. We are lucky in the sense that my group, the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, is an intergovernmental organization. So we have we do have a kind of a link into the governments. So what comes out of the CIGF, we could put into government policy spaces. So that's not the case for all of us. But still, I think what we should do is try to measure the impact that we're having. And when you get something positive happening, you make it known. And that tends to attract others that are coming in as well. We realize that we have a little shortcoming in terms of measurement. We could point anecdotally to things that we've done, but we are now, again, getting into better practices of establishing some measurement systems as to that we will keep current in terms of measuring the progress we are making on various things. So that's what I would suggest for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nigel, for sharing this concrete practice coming from the Caribbean IGF. Let's please hear from the Mauritius IGF. Mahendranath, you have the floor.
Thank you, Anja. Yeah, I'm Mahendranath Basgopal from Mauritius IGF, and we are also working within the Indian Ocean Islands as well. And thank you, Anja. When we hosted our Mauritius IGF in April, in the first week of April, I knew we had difficulties in looking for funding. But luckily, we had one or two corporate sectors who helped us in taking forward the Mauritius IGF. And the theme that we went for, it was artificial intelligence. And the good thing that I would like to share at this meeting is that after our AI meeting, the government of Mauritius decided that we need to go forward with AI. This is what the government is doing. And the other thing is that for this IGF 2025 meeting here, I have the pleasure that the President of the Republic of Mauritius is accompanying us. It is very positive, and I think that what Mauritius IGF is doing in Mauritius and within the Indian Ocean Islands is quite positive. I would like to thank Anja for the official opening ceremony. I think, Anja, when you talk at the opening ceremony, it was quite positive. Even the press, everybody just talked about it, saying that the UN IGF from Geneva is hosting us and is together with us. And the other thing that I would like to add is that we are going forward for the School on Internet Governance in August, first week of August, for 2 weeks. So this is quite positive. Within the island and within the Indian Ocean Islands, we are taking forward the IGF agenda and everything that we can do. Thank you, Anja, for all your support and help.
With great pleasure, Mahendranath, and thank you for the incredible work in such short time. Mauritius IGF became really big process, not just a mere event. So we are always really grateful and honored to be part of it. With that, I'm going to turn to my left. No, I'm going to stay on this side to hear from Mary, and then we're going to go to this side. Mary, please.
Okay. Hello, thank you. Can you hear me?
We can, yes.
All right. In terms of experience sharing, I want to say that the West Africa, okay, my name is Mary. I coordinate the West Africa Internet Governance Forum for the records. Okay. One of the things that has happened in West Africa is that we've gotten the attention of the parliamentarians to be part of the West African Internet Governance process. So they have this year they made a declaration and is on our website, declaration by the parliamentarians, the West African parliamentarian on IG. So they are now interested, they now know. So it's not we talking to ourselves any longer, but the parliamentarians we have gotten their buy-in. Secondly, we're working with the government or the administration of West African states, that is the ECOWAS. And so most of their parliamentarians are here. And thanks to the funding that the GIZ has provided and the IGF Secretariat as well, thank you. And so we are increasingly seeing interest to host our meetings from one country to the other within the West Africa region. And most of our funding, the heavy lifting of our funding comes from the government of the administration or the country. That's one. At the national level, we will also, because of in the involvement of the parliamentarians, the parliamentarians that are in the IG network is pressing it on the ministers, ministers, because we had ministers attend our meetings, and they have called it parliamentarians. So Nigeria is hosting the secretariat of the parliamentarians. So, and the parliamentarians are those that decide the budget for the country. So in doing that, they were able to push the ministers to be able to fund, put in budget for the IGF. I mean, the national IGF and the regional IGF. So that's increased funding we have seen. And they are also reaching out to other funding agencies to see that we are doing well. So I think if we involve them, if we involve our executive arm of the government, as well as the MPs, we will see an increase in the participation. And also, we specifically wanted them to be there to know about to go vote for the renewal of IGF mandate. And that was what was our aim, to make sure that we bring them, they get their buy-in, and so that when they get there in December, they'll be able to vote. We have not had our national IGF, but we did a webinar. So we're going to do another webinar involving all the stakeholders, so that we'll continue to press on the fact that we need to renew the mandate of the IGF. And those are the things that we are doing in West Africa and in Nigeria. So you may want to take a cue from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mary. Let's go maybe to Kato-san, to Japan IGF, and then we're going to take all the speakers from here.
Thank you, Anya. My name is Masanobu Kato from IGF Japan. If you ask one particular or biggest challenge for Japan, unfortunately, it is still the question how we can draw the attention or interest from general public to the IGF matters. How to explain the importance for participation to IGF, and we are still struggling on this. Probably you remember that we sponsored or hosted Kyoto IGF a year and a half ago, and where we invited the Prime Minister, 3 ministers, and many executives from companies and so on. I thought IGF became very popular. Many newspapers put articles on this, but unfortunately, some of the newspapers said that IGF was about AI governance. Anyway. After Kyoto, unfortunately, we probably lost some of the general interest to the IGF activities. It is our fault. We couldn't explain continuously about the importance of participation to this kind of international, event, also, we are trying to organize more formally about an IGF Japan, which is still, going on, and took us more than 1 year and a half to have more formalized, the incorporation of the organization in Japan. And this is simply because, currently Japan IGF are, hosted or supported by those who are older people, knowing the real issue here, but they still have their own issues and their agenda and so on. It's very difficult to have one united group of people in Japan. So that's where we are right now. And this is not just the negative side. I like to mention some of the things we are doing right now. One thing is, several months ago, we started to have monthly study discussions, where every month we pick up some of the issues surrounding digital policies and so on. Also, last month we hosted the Japan IGF meeting as a preparatory meeting for the this meeting, and where we talked about topics which may draw interest or attention by general public, such as child protection from digital or SNS, also issues surrounding online gambling, which became very big issue right now in Japan. And some of you may know this well, but online gambling coming from outside of Japan. Japan is in general, gambling is prohibited. So online gambling is not possible in Japan in general. But they can bet money to those online gambling sites outside of Japan. So this became a big public issues. So we put emphasis on the importance of this kind of discussion through IGF in Japan. Also, in that session, we talked about the future of IGF and a kind of awareness and the learning process for general public about what we are discussing at WSIS and the GDC and so on. Where luckily we invited speakers outside from Japan. Many from ICC basis participated, and Amrita from India representing civil society. So these are the things we are trying to connect Japan to outside of Japan. Also, pick up some topics which may draw the interest of the general public. Let us know, if we can improve our activities more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kato-san. And you're coming from a very unique perspective, I would say, in the recent time. But it would be very interesting to hear also from other colleagues who had this experience of their government hosting the IGF, how it reflected on the national IGF. From our experience, especially in the past couple of years, it is precisely the national IGFs that are the drivers of processes for hosting, I would say. And they often have a very active role as a program committee or steering committee within the overall host country process. And that's been a new practice, but I think they've just been recognized by the host government as a great asset that can help to prepare a meeting. So with that, we're going to hear from our colleague Julian from the Colombian IGF and the LAC IGF.
Thank you, Anja. My name is Julian Casasbuenas, and I am the coordinator of the Colombian IGF. And now I would like to present some of the things that we are doing currently that has been evolved very much in the last years because of all this work that we have been doing. We try to meet every month, so we are about to reach our 100th meeting for the Colombian IGF, and the annual meeting this year will be the 11th version. So in this process, we have implemented mechanisms where every month, we try to convene these meetings with different stakeholders to ask to moderate the sessions. So every time is not only those that are coordinating, but also different actors that can participate and get more linked to all the process and reinforce the importance of the multi-stakeholder model. Also, we try to get Colombian IGF involved in different international calls and submit observations in internet governance processes, as well as the Global Digital Compact or the WSIS consultations, and also to participate in the Latin American internet governance forums. Or even local activities. So support for the dissemination of the initiatives of the Colombian IGS, such as the annual forum, events related to internet governance by member stakeholders, as well as sharing the work for the local initiative in international spaces, such here at the IGF, the LAC IGF, and ICANN meetings. So what this process brings us to a point that we are trying to continue the discussions with previous meetings and try to bring these themes into the intersessional process, not to select only those themes, but also to continue in the work. And this year we plan to organize our agenda based on these meetings that we are doing during the year. So what at this moment our challenges are to continue to make sustainable the process, looking for support from different organizations, and also to include more actors, not only from the main cities in Colombia, but also in the rural areas. So this year we want to provide scholarships, but also to make at least one activity outside of the forum, of the annual forum. So I think that's a challenge in a way that probably will work to convene people that are not yet linked to these processes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Julian. Yes, let's go to Kasun and then to Kosi.
Okay, thank you, Anja. Good evening, all. So I'm Kasun Vikramasuriya representing Sri Lanka IGF. So we have initiated Sri Lanka IGF in first time in 2016. After that, we have initiated in 2017. After 7 years of silence, we have hosted it in last year, 2024 IGF Sri Lanka. So for the IGF Sri Lanka, we are mainly focusing multi-stakeholderism as we discussed. For that one, we have used major keys, 5 segments we have discussed last year. For digital inclusion, technical IGF, that's in focus in the universal acceptance and also localization of internet and the women's side. And also we are focusing the digital inclusion side, focusing the citizens with disabilities and how they can utilize the internet. And also we have focused digital economic side too. So, and also following the multi-stakeholderism, we have used several key multi-stakeholder segments to conduct and moderate the specific sessions. Another challenge we have identified is how we can go to the grassroots to make them aware our peoples about the internet governance, what internet governance is and how they can involve with the internet governance process. So with that one, we have utilized so many strategies. So we have arranged preliminary session series prior to the internet governance main forum in Sri Lanka. So another strategy we have used is that preliminary sessions we have bounded with some other key programs, such as we have organized preliminary session series in line with Global Encryption Day celebration in Sri Lanka. And secondly, we have arranged the preliminary session bind with universal acceptance celebration in Sri Lanka. So those are the key things we have used to make our people aware about internet governance and go to the grassroots levels. Another challenge we have identified is how we can execute the decision what we have taken at the internet governance forum. That's one key challenge we have identified. Other than that financial challenge. So those kind of things I think we have to collaboratively discussed and we can get the decisions how we can execute with the policy implementations by the government sector, and also the challenges we have with the other segments such as private sector and the technical sector participation. Those things I think we have to focus. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kasun. Kosi, please, you have the floor.
Thank you. I'm Kosi Amesino. I come from Benin IGF. It's for we the occasion to recognize the support we receive from IGF Secretariat, technical support, financial support also. Also, IGFSA support also our process each year. It's very important for us. We know IGF is not the space for decision maker, but we will not make decision there, but we have more idea to bring policy on table for our digital space. It's important for us this time to have more private people on the table. We have government, we have civil society, we have some technical issue, we have academia, but private people are not more there. And that is the challenge we have today to improve. We need more support on that. We need more collaboration. Discussion between all the stakeholders is very important to build the good internet ecosystem for our countries locally. That is very important. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Kosi. Lillian, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Anja. I'm Lilian Chamorro. I am the coordinator of the Secretariat of the Latin American and Caribbean LAC IGF Forum. Well, we right now continue preparing our LAC IGF for this year. We have our last LAC IGF at the end of the year in Santiago de Chile, and we are preparing the 18th edition of the forum. We made an open call to define topics, and we already have the topics defined, especially considering those that are so specific for our region as environment and sustainability and human rights. We renewed our workshop selection committee and made a call for host organizations, inviting all the sectors and countries to postulate. I know we are defining the host country for our annual event. We are something that is important for us is that more people know what is the meaning of internet governance, because we think many people maybe is not involved in the discussions because they don't understand the scope. Then we are implementing mechanisms and practices to give more visibility to the discussions and to bring in information for people to understand the meaning and scope of internet governance. We are working on a communication strategy with which we intend to create more information for different actors and also about the entire internet governance ecosystem in the region. Talking about challenges, additionally to the difficulty to find funds for doing an event that can receive more than 2,000 participants, I think we need to strengthen intersectional work and the regional collaboration from different actors and from different NRIs in Latin America. We are trying to implement mechanisms to be more in contact and to have more information of the NRIs in our webpage and in our diffusion mechanisms like news and things that we spread in our networks. And that's what I want to say now.
Thank you very much, Lillian. Let's take two more comments, or maybe three. And then for the conclusion, I'm always eager to hear from the NRIs that have hosted their meetings for the very first time this year. So Declan, I would like to give you a heads up for later. I think it would be good to hear how the Ireland IGF went, because we went to an extent through the process together. You really kept us in the loop, and I want to thank you for that. So I would like just to hear major takeaways at the end of this session, if possible. In the meantime, let's hear from Ihita from the Indian Youth IGF. Then we're going to have Yao from the Benin Youth IGF, and then we're going to have Pio from Myanmar Youth IGF.
Hi, am I audible? Yeah, perfect. All right. Hi, everyone. I am representing the Indian Youth IGF. I'm Ihita Gangavarapu. Since we're exchanging a lot of best practices, I just wanted to tell as to what has been happening in India in the last 7 years since we formulated YIGF in 2018. So what we focus on mainly, I think somebody had mentioned impact. We are really focusing on impact because I think that's one way we'll receive a lot more support. We run two critical things. One is, of course, the annual forum that brings together intergenerational conversations. We also have a fellowship program. So the idea is that young people who are already fairly mature in the space should also be given a platform to get even more mature and understand what are the different dialogues that are happening and help them not just work in silos, but bridge that silos and those gaps. So what, over the work that we've been doing, the impact aspect is how do we influence the current policy making that's happening at the national level. So there are open consultations that the government of India opens up, and we are ensuring that young people send out policy briefs or they give out their inputs. So we are advocating very strongly and are influencing these consultations that happen either in the regulation sector, in the standardization space, or even in general from a capacity building standpoint that the government launches. In addition to this, I think what the issues that we are facing, I think the last few years is, of course, sponsorship. It's a very critical space, and the kind of, even though there is impact, I don't know, we're trying to find ways on how this translates to, let's say, a business value to private sector, or it would translate to something that the government would be even more interested in to support us. Because one variable that falls out here is the leadership of youth IGFs that keep changing year on year. That's one. The other thing we've realized as a challenge is that not being able to incorporate a lot more diversity than we could, because India has a lot of languages, economies, cultures, also being conducive to different types of genders that are out there, right? Then somebody also mentioned private partnerships. One thing I would say that has really helped us through all of these challenges is partnerships, but the private sector involvement is fairly low. Partnerships have really stood out, especially to reach out to sectors or regions in the country that have very low, let's say, internet penetration, or have penetration but are not really using it to the optimum, or are not aware of cyber hygiene. So we have run a lot of partnerships over the last 2-3 years to reach out to young girls who are, using the internet but are not understanding how safe, they can actually make it to be. Then the other important thing that we are looking for is some kind of, I wouldn't call it necessarily media coverage, but some kind of a coverage of the type of work that we do. If any of the NRI initiatives have been able to kind of get this kind of coverage done earlier, then I think their support will help us influence the type of work that we're able to do in the country, and maybe influence other stakeholders also. So there's more impact and more partnerships that we are able to drive with sectors that are currently not involved in the space. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ihita. Let's hear from Yao.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. Yamogo. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. So I'm Yao from the Youth IGF Benin. I thank everybody for their contribution regarding the exchange of good practices. I have I would say two questions, questions I wanted to brought to your considerations. One is, in terms of good practice, how could we learn from all the NRI network, how we better engage private sector in terms of getting them to actually long-term, like funding the initiative, for partnering with involving them into sessions and having sort of contributing to the capacity building activities we are doing during our different initiatives. They join sometimes. But then when it comes to actually asking them to sponsor in terms of giving support for money or in kind, it's sometimes difficult for them, I don't know, maybe how we frame it, to see the added value in giving funding to us. So for those who have been successful into securing substantial funding from private sectors, how have you been doing this? So this is something the youth NRIs need to learn from, how to do it better when it comes to raising funds. So, because we have different issues in our countries, and the strategy to raise funds might be different, but there might be some common ground in how we do it better. The next thing is they're related to the way the youth NRIs are functioning, that in this cycle of changing leaderships, how do we make sure that we maintain all the good practices that have been, good work that have been accomplished by the volunteers, so that even though the leadership changes, the work progress still remains, and those who come after will do better from in terms of contributing to the overall work and making sure that our contribution has been meaningful in terms of policy implication and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Yao. Pyo?
Hello everyone, this is Pyo from Myanmar YGF, and I noticed that lots of colleagues from the UNI network have been shared their challenges and experience. But so far, from the perspective as an independent youth initiative from Myanmar, we would like to share some example that we have done for like a 4 year, continuing as a independent youth initiative. As a volunteer organizing committee member, the first thing what we have done for the first year, after the first year forum, is that we raise a co-funding by ourselves for the next year forum. Of course, it wasn't a very big amount, but we could facilitate the virtual setting forum at least for the second year forum. And then after that, we're trying to reach out to the potential organization which can support us for the that year forum. Because as an independent initiative, we have a challenge of legal registration, and as you may know, it's very difficult to apply the funding without having any legal registry. So I think from our perspective, there should be the organization which can support the youth initiative and NRI who are running, who are trying to support and facilitate the forum as an independent initiative, or they should not have a barrier to host a forum as long as they have a passion, and regardless of not having regardless of the legal registration on one hand. But there's another point of view that I would like to mention here, that as long as a committee member have a passion, we can host a forum at least in the virtual session, right? So even though it's been like a 4 year. This is our 4 year to facilitate the activity related to the IGF Myanmar, but we transform it into the workshop series this year because of our limited resources. We can do whatever we can do based measuring our limited resources, and why. I mean, we can step back if we have a very limited resources, like transforming the workshop to continue as our activity as a youth initiative or the NRI. That is a good example and the practice, I guess, that I would like to share here. As long as you have a passion and you have a passion to contribute and support for the community, that would be very great, that continuous in any kinds of activity that you can. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pio. We have 3 more minutes until the end, and we want to hear from 4 speakers. So let's see how skillful our speakers are. I want to give floor firstly to Tijani through Zoom. Then we're going to hear quickly from Declan. We have 3 more comments very briefly. I'm going to ask maybe for 2 more extra times from our colleagues in the technical domain, and then we're going to wrap up. Tijani, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Anya. Tijani Benjamin from the North African, and I am speaking on my own behalf. I think that this is a coordination session for the NRIs, and the NRIs will coordinate what they are doing together. And what we are doing together is these sessions in the IGF. So I propose that in the future, at least part of this session would be dedicated to the assessment, evaluation of our performance of the past year. We should try to find what kind of effect our sessions made on the general attendees in the IGF. How was our performance? How was the content that our speakers gave? How was the moderations we did? Of course, we will not speak about persons, we will not speak about names, but we have to be aware that we need to improve our process, and so that, and for the upcoming year, we will not make the same mistake if we made a mistake. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tijani. Declan, you've hosted the Irish IGF, if I may note, it's a very exceptional venue. So I'd like to see what was the feedback from the community. How do you see the future? What was the biggest challenge, very briefly?
Very briefly, hi everyone, my name is Declan. I'm the coordinator for the Ireland IGF. As Anya noted, we just hosted our very first event several weeks ago. And the feedback has been exceptional. We're very happy and we're very encouraged for the future. We particularly, I think one of the main successes was just the wide array of stakeholders that we were able to bring together. We ended up actually getting a government minister as well to give a keynote speech, as well as getting very prominent figures in the civil society and academia to also take part. I think a lot of that a success is attributed to the organizing team. We made sure that the organizing team was also very diverse and that they could also have these connections as well within the different stakeholder groups who might not know about what the IGF is, but having those connections from the organizing team, they were able to sort of go out and advocate for very prominent key figures to take part. I would say that one of the biggest challenges, there were the normal challenges that seem to be recurring, so identifying funding, explaining what the IGF is to the general public. But I'd say one of the biggest ones that stuck out to me was because everyone was very eager to participate, our agenda was very, very broad and very wide, and it was somewhat difficult to fit in 5 panels and 2 keynote speakers and a lunch all in one day. But we were able to do it when we only went about 2 minutes over time. So we're very, very happy about that. But I think moving forward, we'll try to be a little more targeted with our overall theme and with our the selected panels. But to me, it's also a benefit or it's a strength because it did mean that there was such a wide range of people who wanted different topics discussed. So we are very encouraged moving forward in the future.
Thank you so much, Declan, and looking forward to see the continuation. So I have a signaling from the technical team that we have to conclude. So Abdel Jalil, Sarai, Toko, if you can be quick in 30 seconds, more than happy and looking forward to your remarks.
Okay.
I promise I will not take time for the conclusion.
Okay, thank you so much. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, Anna, for the opportunity. I'm Sarai Falopote Vita from the Pacific IGF, from the Pacific Islands chapter. So I just want to comment hearing some best practices from the colleagues here. And I think we have the same, but just want to name 2. The challenges we are facing, and we have the same challenges getting the fund, but the most important thing of the opportunities of giving out there and sharing and advocating what the IGF is. Getting the buy-in from the government is one of the important things that for us to do. And also for us as coming from the technical background, you know the technical architecture of this thing of IGF. So we are the ones as well assisting the political and the policies people to push through the IGF. So my point here is it's a collaborative work, and it's for us that know what to do that helps and impacted others. It's something that we need to work together with. So that's my 2 cents, Anja. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Sarai. Abdel Jalil, very briefly.
Okay. Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much, Anya and dear colleague. So my name is Abdel Jalil Bashar Bong. So I'm coming from Chad. I'm coordinating the national IGF of Chad. So happy to learn the different experience. So my comment is that about collaboration. So here in Chad, we have a good collaboration with government and private sector also. So coming for funding sometimes difficult, but we have some strategy to do it. We prepare our budget. Sometimes we receive funding from IGF SA or Secretariat, but we go in directly to private sector sometimes, like the mobile operator, to tell them this is our budget. We don't need physical money, but for example, taken from for the food or the printing or the media. So sometimes this kind of collaboration, after that we put their logo and our publication, and sometimes they have some session also to this kind of collaboration will help also. And the other side also for the NRIs can help the countries like coming not online only for the IGF, but for the internet space also. Like we say that chat are not in GAC. We say as how we can help that to bring like chat in ICANN, chat like in CCNSO, so in ITU also. There's a lot of things that as NRIs can become a key platform to help the national uses also. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Abdel Jalil. I have received a final warning, I think, from the technical team that we cannot take more interventions. I am very sorry, but we have 4 more sessions of the NRIs on various topics as of tomorrow. So let us please continue there. I use the opportunity to also invite you to join, I think, what could be a very interesting panel at 3:30 at Studio N. It's the Global Youth Summit, where we will have the Australian Digital Ambassador, Meta, speaking with young people from around the world on why putting age verification on social media maybe good or not a good thing. So I hope that you can come and support that dialogue, and we can continue also this discussion there. Thank you so much. Thank you.